You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's America's Next Top Model After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's America's Next Top Model After Show.
Hi, Top Model fans. Bing is for doing, and we're doing another episode of America's Next Top Model. This is episode 13, cycle 20, the girl who gets kissed on an elephant. A lot of interesting happening in this episode, and there's a lot of emotion and drama that is still continuing on.
Oh, yeah.
So we open up the episode with the contestants coming into the house, and they're greeted by Tyra around pillows and candles, and they're talking about their struggles, just, you know, their emotional state where they're at. And one person is missing from the whole group, Marvin.
Go figure, right? Marvin needs another cry session.
Yeah, so we see him not part of the group, and of course Tyra asks where Marvin is, and you know, they tell her that he's outside, so she goes to visit him to see what's going on, and he's just crying like a baby, just crying. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad for him, you know, because we've had him on the show and we see that he's genuine about his emotions and how he feels about Dawn and their friendship. They did become best friends on the show, so it was an impact on him to see him leave, especially when he thought Dawn did better than he did.
Right.
So Tyra gives him advice and says, you know, that he still needs to continue on. Marvin's a little unsure about himself because of where he comes from, where he grew up. Mm-hmm. He doesn't think that he deserves to be in the competition. What do you think about that?
Well, Marvin is truly a sensitive guy deep down inside. At first, when I first saw all of the tears, you know, way back, I thought, oh, he has to just be putting this on for the show. But getting to know him and seeing him further along in the competition, he's really forming really special relationships with these people, and I think that he really, truly cares about these people, and that's awesome. At the same time, I don't know why he feels that way about himself, that he's so unsure, because he's gotten this far, and he should feel even more impressed with where he is, given his background. You know, he didn't start out on an equal playing field, and he's still with all of these people. And so, but apparently, you know, later on in the show, we see that that pep talk really helped.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool, though, of Tyra to go there and, you know, have a little one-on-one with him, because he needed it. He definitely needed it.
He did. I like the, you know, when she put her hands on him and he's just crying and sobbing and no idea that Tyra is in back of him and is the one comforting him. I'm sure he was probably thinking it's Renee or, you know, one of the other roommates, but it's Tyra.
Yeah, and then he turns around, he's shocked. He's like, oh.
He was very shocked and starts sobbing even more and even harder. So, you know, they all come back into the main room and they're talking about their struggles. Jordan brings up her ex-husband and how, you know, how she had to deal with the situation, and Cory is expressing how he feels left out, even though not necessarily left out, but he's the black sheep of the group because he's different, and you know, which is good, but at the same time he knows that he needs to prove a little bit more than everyone else because he needs to live up to the expectation of being a male model. Mm-hmm. And then we have Chris, who's expressing his feelings and his jealousy for the rest of the roommates because he doesn't have the friendship that everyone else does.
Yeah, it's so tough because sometimes I do see Chris isolating himself, and then other times I think that it's gotten to a point where people are continuing to not give him a chance because everyone's already gotten to one side, and so they're just kind of sticking, like this mob mentality. Okay, Chris is out, so we're not gonna, even when it seems like he's trying. at the same time, you know, he mentioned that he felt jealous of everyone's relationship, and he forgot about Nina. And Nina has been there for him, even though they had that one little tiff where she kind of went against him for a bit. And I felt like Nina was genuinely hurt. I mean, you could see it in her eyes, but you know, he just needs to make a little more effort, I think. Because I don't think Chris is a bad guy. We know where he comes from. We know his background and why he struggles. But, you know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy if you feel like nobody wants to be my friend, everybody already has friends, you already have this in your mind. I mean, you're going to make that happen for yourself. So, but at least he was open and honest. It takes a lot for a person to say, hey, I'm jealous of the fact that you have these relationships and I want to be a part. So, I mean, that's a step.
I completely agree with you. And, you know, it is from both sides. It is, a part of me feels like he should be stepping up a little bit more, being more open. And the roommates and the contestants at the same time have to have that open door for him as well. And not just open it whenever they feel like it. And whenever Chris is in a good mood, they have to help one another out. And it's sad because I feel like he wants to be a part of it, a part of the group, and do everything that they're doing, but at the same time, he's pulling himself back.
Exactly.
He's limiting, maybe, I don't know if he's had some problems with friendship before where it didn't work out so well, so now he just, you know, wants to keep that distance, not to get hurt and not to let the competition affect him. But at the end of the day, it's you and these people that you have to live with in one house, and you don't have anyone else.
Right.
You get a phone call, you know, once a week, which we don't even see that happening anymore.
Right, right.
But that's about it.
Well, we do know that in his past that he moved around a ton, and he had to find ways to cope with, you know, making friends, then losing friends, and having to remake friends again. And so I think that that's part of the reason that he's a little guarded with people. But what I have seen, like him and Nina, is that once you do like break that shell, he's a very loving and open person, and like I think he would be there for his friend no matter what. I think that once you get past all that, that he can be a really good friend. So hopefully someone else will like take the initiative to try with him.
It's just constant drama and constant fighting with Chris that we see happening in the house. You know, we see Jeremy also confronting Chris by the pool and about their first trip to Bali when they arrived. I guess they had a confrontation when they met with, when they first met everyone at Bali, and how Chris made references and comments like, get out of my way, you know.
He was pushing him.
Yeah, you're not going to be here much longer, stuff like that.
But I thought that he was joking. When I saw that, when he was pushing him back, I thought that it was like he was trying to be playful. And that's another fine line that he treads not so well sometimes. Like, for example, when he first got into the house and he hit every guy in the balls playing around, and like everyone has their own way of playing, and some people take things way too serious and other people are like, whatever, man. And I thought that he was doing that again, but he just has to be careful with how he does it and with whom, because you know, if people already have their preconceived notion about him, then they're not going to take it in a friendly way. And I think that's what happened with Jeremy, unfortunately.
And then we move on to the photo shoot. And it was interesting this week because we didn't see a challenge.
Right, right.
And I was so scared to see, you know, the models having to, the only thing they were judged on was the photos and no challenge. And I thought this was a great place and a great opportunity for them to come up with some sort of a challenge. I don't know, something that they've done it so many times, but testing their fears, their strengths, and it was a great place. But instead, they were sent on, you know, just to tour the city, and Cory, Jordan, Nina, and Chris were sent to see a shaman. So that was really interesting, and I thought that was a great experience and opportunity for them, because they were the ones that expressed a lot of emotional distress during the first time when they walked in the house and they were talking with Tyra. And everyone was taking it in a very positive way. They were happy. They got this experience and this opportunity to see, you know, Bali, and to be there and to see a shaman. But Chris was again negative, you know, and thought this was a curse and a spell, and he didn't see the point of it. So I really want to, you know, maybe have him call in and find out where he's coming from, because we're making these speculations about what's going on and how he's acting and what he's doing, and we really don't know what his state of mind was at the time.
It's funny you say that. I didn't actually take it as him being negative. I thought he was just making light of it again, and that's how he can be not confused. We could confuse what his, like you said, he should call in. Because when I saw that and he was like, well, I don't know, this guy was like, you know, doing some black magic voodoo on me, I took it as, okay, he's just being funny and making light of it. I didn't necessarily see it as negative, and that's probably how people react to him in the house. Like, you thought, you know, he was just like, boo, this is crap, and I was thinking, well, he's just whatever.
I think because
his personality is...
Yeah, it's definitely different, but I think because the other contestants were very in touch with what was going on, and they felt like they needed that, and to see, you know, someone maybe making a joke of it or whatever, it doesn't really sit well, because then you're making fun of the rest of the people that believe in, you know, that
the healing power of a shaman. Yeah,
exactly. So, you know, maybe he just, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I know. It's his personality. It's very dual. There's two sides to Chris that you just kind of have to figure out, and that's why he's having all of the tension that he's having in the house, because I don't think that people really figured him out yet. Maybe he hasn't figured it out himself yet, and he's still learning how to be more like socially aware with other people. And it's hard, like we've heard from past contestants, when you're in a house with all of these people 24 hours a day being filmed, and you're also competing. I mean, emotions run high, and you know, you start to go a little stir crazy. So I can imagine. But I think that the other group had a little more fun.
They did. It looked so awesome. So Marvin, Jordan, and Jeremy got to go and just explore and, you know, be in touch with nature and see what there was. And it looked like they had a great time. And I'm actually really starting to see Jordan's walls come down. And, you know, in the beginning we were talking about her and how she was making herself feel like an outcast in the house by how she was acting. So she's really adopted to everyone and is very open to anything and all the you know, whatever the competition brings, and I'm really liking that everyone is getting along with her.
Yeah, and I'm glad that she's embracing Bali. Kind of like she's like, oh, I definitely feel like Bali chose me. And I thought that that was great because, you know, she's a little down home girl from a small city, and sometimes we get those cookie cutter girl next door types. They get into this different environment and they're like, oh, I don't understand it, I don't like it, and you know, and she's like really embracing it. It's really cute and endearing.
Yeah, it's good to see everyone taking the positive out of the whole experience and the trip. Bali is so beautiful. And I want to go. So the next day, they go to the photo shoot, and so they had to model designs by an 11-year-old designer, Ridwan. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And Tyra lets them know that he's also deaf. Not only is he 11 years old, he's deaf. And that touched, I was looking at everyone's facial expressions, and I could see that really touched everyone. So he made, he was a protege at 7 years old, and now he's 11 years old, and he had his collection on a runway at such a young age.
Yeah, I think his first runway collection was shown when he was 9. Yeah, and it's beautiful.
It is, and it's so inspirational, and everyone got touched, and of course, Marvin was the one that I was hoping he wasn't going to get emotional at the moment, but he really took the positive out of it and wanted to prove to this little boy who's 11 years old that he is going to bring it, and he's going to show him, because if he can do it at 11 and be deaf with so many obstacles in his way, then he wasn't going to let anyone or anything get in his way of proving that he was going to step up to the plate and deliver what we have been waiting for him to do.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we saw Marvin like finally have the confidence and, like you said, step up to the plate instead of, I feel like a lot of the models sometimes play the victim mentality, and I think a lot of them did really well on this challenge, and they didn't even know that the photos would be the only thing that they would be judged on when they were doing the photos, and they all did a pretty great job. There were a couple that, you know, struggled, but this was, I love the pictures, especially Marvin's.
So we have a second designer as well. His name is Oka Deputra. It's in a rice patty. So that was the second designer that they had to show a collection from. And we get right into it, and Tyra is giving advice to the contestants, and first of all, she's putting the makeup
she's
on
doing their
them.
makeup. That's cool.
I was like, isn't that a little bit too bronze?
I know, at first I was like, whoa, what's going on? But everyone had that look, so I was like, okay.
The very thick eyebrows.
And the eyebrows, yeah.
Outlined, and, you know, she did the makeup on everyone, and she was giving advice to every single one of the contestants, which I thought was very neat because we haven't really seen her in, you know, as the advisor that she used to be in prior episodes and prior seasons even. So it was really nice to see her come in there and be more of the mom figure and comfort everyone and give them that little push that they needed to continue moving forward.
And that one-on-one time with the posing and everything for them.
Exactly. But Cory reveals to Tyra that we have a couple in the house.
Right.
So I think Renee was just like, what are you doing?
No.
I don't want Tyra to know. I don't want anyone to know. And now you're telling Tyra me and Marvin are together.
I was so surprised. Marnay, that's so funny. Marnay. I was really surprised that Renee kind of let down her guard and ended up hooking up with Marvin, and they became a couple because she is and was so serious about this competition and was so focused and was like, nothing's gonna get me down. And you know, she is thinking about Jordan, her competition, and then all of a sudden she just lets it all down and she's hanging out with Marvin. And so I was surprised. Of course, she still has a problem with the PDA thing, but I don't know.
I think maybe it was winning a couple of competitions and coming up on top gave her that boost in self-esteem that she needed to just let loose and have fun, because everyone is so tied up into the competition and there's so much tension going on. And when you have someone, you know, that's next to you to comfort you at the end of the day, at the end of the night, to unwind and just let loose and just be yourself. Everyone wants that and everyone needs it. It's just, you know, she happened to be the one to find it in the house, or Marvin happened to be the one to find her. So
his third attempt, wasn't he? Yeah, he like tried to get with a couple of other girls.
Bianca and Gianna and Alex and a couple of other ones before.
He finally scored.
He did, and it seems like they're pretty happy. So we'll see. Hopefully they make the long distance relationship work, and we'll see and hear from them in the near future to see how that's working out.
Right.
But going into the photo shoots, let's start off with who do we have first go up? Let's talk about first.
Was Marvin first?
Marvin.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's
Actually,
Cory.
let's go to Cory.
Yeah. Well, the judges well, I guess we can talk about that later, but I love Cory. Like, I love his personality, and I feel like he is so versatile. We've seen him in a more masculine, feminine shoots or pictures, and here he's doing the whole androgyny thing beautifully, and I really love this shot, and he is using the light so well. If you notice, it's hitting his face and then showing the contouring of his face, and I just love this picture because, and the arms too, give it some versatility.
I definitely agree with you. I like the picture, and I like how he's able to pull off. It's masculine, but not too masculine. So you see that there's still that feminine feel to it in the picture.
It's a little bit of both.
So it's a little bit of both, but you can't say it's one or the other. So that's why I love the picture. I love his face. It's very strong. His jaw lines, you could see the sun hitting it, and just his overall pose. It feels very effortless, the way he's holding the basket on top of his head. It's not, it doesn't feel like it's heavy or unbalanced. So I think he did a great job.
Yeah, like his body is the epitome of balance in
Exactly.
this like shape. And if you think about it, he technically has on his bottom pieces like a skirt. You know, and Tyra had mentioned that this is like this was like this androgynous outfit that was like a skirt, but it's on a male, and the top is, you know, just kind of free flowing. And so like he just pulled it off really well.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else would have pulled it off like he did.
I can't imagine Jeremy in that. But anyhow, so that's a great picture.
Okay, let's go on to the next picture.
I would have liked a different outfit on Chris, but the thing with Chris too is that he does have a great face. That you know, he can just be walking like this, and his face always looks really beautiful. So I like that about him, but I don't like the pants, especially. Like, they're so high, and he looks like a circus guy with this.
I keep on mentioning it every single episode we do, a recap, saying yellow is not Chris's color.
Right.
Stop putting it on him.
Especially with the hair.
Exactly. And again, we see yellow pants. I think it takes away from the picture, from his face, from everything. When you see any yellow on him, automatically you know, your eyes go to the yellow.
And I don't know what's going on with the shoes either, but I mean, this background that they all had is so beautiful. Like, everyone's gonna pop in this background. But I liked when they were shooting, when he was holding the bars. The bars. I thought that was cool, and that was gonna make a really cool picture. So I'd hope that they had picked that. I don't think it's Chris's best picture, but like I said, like, he can go no wrong. Usually, he's really good with his face, as long as he's not doing the crazy eyes. And here, he's not. So.
Well, he was having a little trouble in the photo shoot with the bars because, first of all, he didn't like the shirt. He took it off one shoulder, and as soon as he got into the photo shoot, he started, I don't want to say complaining, but he was expressing his dissatisfaction with the outfit and with the bars, and it wasn't working. We had, you know, I think even the photographer expressed how he was not connecting with the nature. He wasn't one with it, and he was having trouble. So I see that it came out in the picture. I don't like what he's wearing as well.
Right.
It just seems like he's just standing there holding a basket, trying to balance. I feel like in a way he's balancing because he looks like he's gonna fall off. But that's just me.
Well, and another thing that all of the judges mentioned was that, for example, now I cannot suddenly think. Kelly Catrone was like, she liked the model-y look where, for example, Cory that we just saw, he definitely looks like he's modeling. And if you opened up a page of French Vogue, you would see that. But for example, here, Chris looks a little more natural and not as model-y, a little more effortless. And so given the background, that works too. That's the thing. They're not in a studio, and you want the super model-y editorial that we're usually looking for. So it's kind of hard because sometimes the really model-y works up against something that's so natural, and then right here, this works as well.
I definitely have to agree with you, because if you have to be really careful how you pose in this scenery, because if you're too extreme, it would come off like you're trying too hard.
Yeah, you can't be like voguing with this background. But at the same time, if you can find some definite shape and lines to your body like Cory did, that was cool. The juxtaposition was really neat. So, I mean, they both work. It just depends on what your preference is.
Yes. He's been, struggling in the past couple of shoots. So the featured photographer for this episode, Jess Smith, didn't really like his photos and didn't like how he was trying to... He couldn't find his place in the photo. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't feature him in the bar and they gave him a basket, because he was struggling in it. I think if they kept the pictures that he had, I don't think he would
might have been eliminated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
let's see the next picture. Well, there we go. There are the bars. I thought they were so cool looking, but they were a bad choice for Jeremy though, because exactly what he's not wanting to show, which are his huge arms, it emphasized them because he has to like pick them up, and like that makes them bigger. Exactly.
And I thought maybe they should have given him something different, because at the same time they don't want that fitness model look coming to life.
Exactly.
But you're giving him something to hold
that resembles a bell bar.
Exactly, a bell bar, and he needs to balance it. because he didn't know I'm sure he didn't know what he was holding when he was practicing with Tyra, and Tyra was telling him, what face to give and pull the neckline, and he was doing a great job. And we see him actually doing some of those poses during the photo shoot, but once again, that's not the picture that they chose.
Yeah, and this is like one of my least favorite pictures of him. I just feel like the outfit choice is all wrong. The pants are really long in the middle for him. I don't know if he's shorter or what, but like they don't fit him very well. And then that one arm, his left arm, on our right, it just looks huge and weird. It just doesn't scream model. None of it does. The only thing that looks somewhat nice is his face. For once, he's not giving the duck lips, and he's catching the light, and he's not squinting either. So like that's the only thing. But the whole body just looks out of place.
Definitely.
And I don't know what's on his head. Can you tell?
It was like a cap or a hat that they put on his head. So I don't know if that's just part of the outfit or it's there to balance the
He just
bars.
looks like so out of place. His outfit looks like Coming to America, like with Aladdin's pants and a bell bar in the middle of a rice field. Does not. I don't know, but I think he's so cute. He just has to find his niche, and I think a lot of it had to do with the styling.
It could be.
I gotta just put it out there,
Okay, let's go on to the next photo.
Oh, I love this picture.
So we have Jordan. Jordan looks amazing, I think, in all photos. And
she doesn't even look like herself, and that's what I love too. The versatility of her face with the thick eyebrows, like she looks like a completely different person, but still gorgeous.
She looks like a Barbie doll come to life, like a life-size Barbie, but it's not the Barbie look. It's more of the couture Euro Barbie transformed, which I really liked, and I like her dress, and I like how
the dress is cool.
She stands out from the scenery, and it almost feels like
the scenery is fake.
It's fake.
Yeah, it's like she's superimposed on it.
Definitely.
And that's what you want. And she's doing the same thing Cory's doing, and she's providing this beautiful like S shape for us to look at with her arms and her body. And I had noticed too when we saw a full shot of her, like her legs weren't looking that great, so I'm kind of glad they chopped them. Because the shoes that were flat with her legs were making her look a little kinklish. And so it's good that this is what we got of the picture, and it's just as beautiful.
I want to get
She needs to get a fuller eyebrow.
I want to get some lessons from her on how to pose, your body and be in front of the camera, because she seems so effortless but so chic being in front of the camera. I love.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt when you have long limbs and a beautiful face. I mean, that's just that's
except
the
poor
given.
thing fell in the water.
Oh, she fell in the water. That's what was it infested with?
With snake.
Cobra poop.
Oh yes. I felt so bad for her.
Ew.
Okay, next photo.
Oh, I thought this one was
Marvin.
I think this is one of Marvin's best pictures.
It is. I really like this picture. I like that he's sitting down, versus everyone else who's standing up. So you get to see a different pose for one. But at the same time, I like that he didn't lose his body, even though he's sitting down.
Right, and his abs still look good.
Exactly. You could still see his abs are contracted. You're not, getting a flabby belly just hanging out.
This is the Aladdin that we wanted. His face looks great, his jaw structure.
Everything about the picture I really like. I just wish his arm, his left arm was a little bit out to the side and not so in. But that's just me. I don't know why.
It does look a little truncated like that. It would look longer and leaner. And that's something like, for example, that Jeremy needs to learn, because even Marvin, he's not as buff as Jeremy, but that his arm there looks a little buffer, and maybe if he had pushed it out a little bit, it would look more model-esque. You're right on that, but
I like the shirt that they chose on him. I like the flow, and it seems like, if I'm not mistaken, it's cut off from the back, or that might just be the print we're seeing. So I feel like there's a slit in the back of the shirt, but maybe
I don't know, I didn't see the shirt.
No,
I'm not sure.
Maybe.
But it's a great picture.
Yeah, and we see the hat, the cape on him as well, which looks really good on him
looks better.
versus Jeremy. So I definitely like this look.
There might be something to be said for nice thick eyebrows because they're all looking better with them.
Exactly.
Brooke Shields had something, you know, right back in the 80s when she did the thick eyebrows.
Well, it brings out your features. You know, if you're entertainment, especially, you know, on stage and dancing, you know you have to put as much makeup on as you can because the people, you know, far back, 50 rows back can't see your
People
features.
in the cheap seats gotta see ya.
So you put on as much makeup as you can to make your features stand out. And red lipstick, big eyeshadows, all of the 9 yards. You do fake eyelashes just to make all your features extinct. And that's exactly what they did.
That's what Tyra did for this shoot, yeah.
So on to the next picture. Nina.
Oh, goodness.
I feel bad for her.
I know. And she was doing such great poses before she got out here. And I thought her face was looking beautiful too, but this is just all kinds of crazy. The outfit is so cool too.
It's cool, but I feel like it's a little too much for her. She's, you know, she's petite compared to the rest of the girls on the show. And I feel like with the big hat, or is it a hat or a basket? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
With the big skirt, the big wraparound blouse, it was a little bit too much for her. I feel like she's sunk into the clothes. You can't really see her body, her curves, because it's covering it.
And I think the main thing wrong with this picture is the way in which her head is positioned, and then the look. You know, if she had turned, I can't even explain it. I would be a horrible director, but if she had turned to the right, looked down a little bit, and then positioned the hat the other way, this could have been a really beautiful picture. And then I'm not sure what she was doing with her mouth either. It's just a little wonky in this area.
It is. But then she doesn't have a lot of room on the right side because of the way the wraparound is going high.
So she might have gotten the short end of the stick just with her clothes alone for her. Who knows? Who's to say if Jordan had this on, what she might have pulled off?
Definitely.
Nina.
So I think the clothes have a lot to do with it. They have a big role to play in it, and at the same time, her face. I think if her face was a little bit different in the picture, she wouldn't have been so harshly criticized for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but she looks a little like, I don't know, meth-ish cracked out with that look. You know, with the people, like their mouths are like weird and they're like, I don't know, something's going on with the jaw and it looks a little scary.
So let's go on to the next photo. Next we have Renee. See how different the dress is? Renee, Jordan, and then compare it to Nina.
Right, right. That's unfortunate. I think Renee looks really beautiful here. She could have picked her head up a little bit more, so it wasn't just like girl next door staring out, wishing that she were in the field, and more like, I am, like they said, I am the queen instead of the princess.
Exactly. I think she definitely needed to show more neck, especially with the shadow from the basket hitting her face. It's making her neck look shorter than what it really is. And I have to agree, when they were talking about it, I felt like it was like Cinderella type of story where she wants to go to the ball, but, you know, she can't because of whatever is keeping her back. So she
and her evil stepsisters.
So she looks like she's longing for that carriage, that right to go to the ball, but it's not quite here yet.
It's still a great picture for her overall. In her portfolio, this is one of her better pictures. Her face looks great. Her body looks great. The color of her skin pops up against the rice field.
I wish they would have shown her full body instead of cropping it, because compared to Jordan, I did like her feet, and I did like how she had it kind of crossed to the side.
Her legs were looking great.
It was. So I'm a little disappointed they didn't give us a full photo, but aside from that, I like the photo.
And I can imagine Renee with long hair like that, and I think she'd look really beautiful.
She will. I like even the color that they have. It's a really good contrast to what her natural color is.
Girl, you should just go Beyonce. I think it would look really good, don't you?
Yes.
Just change her up.
Maybe she needs Marvin's approval.
Oh, God. Let's hope not.
Okay, next photo. I don't think.
Is that it?
That's the end.
I think that's that's all we have.
Wow, we're really getting down to barely.
It feels like
anybody.
there's more coming on. You're like, okay, next photo, but there's only 7 contestants left.
I know, and now after tonight's show, only 5. So they eliminated 2.
So they get to the judging the panel, and we get Tyra reveals that because of the fact that they didn't have any challenge this week, it will be 2 models going home instead of 1.
Dun, dun, dun.
Everyone freaked out. But they were expecting it. They were talking about it in the house and saying how it might be 2 models and because it's getting too close to the finale and they really need to narrow it down. So they were kind of expecting that it was going to be 2 models going home. But I don't think they were expecting
the models
those
that went
2 to go home. So the first call out is Jordan, and the judges love her pictures. They talk about how amazing she did in the photos and how her picture would be one of those in those European editorials and something that Tyra has done in the past as well, something that
like Vogue Italia or something.
Exactly. So they really love her picture, and she's the one to get called out first, who would have the keys to the Tyra suite for the next episode.
I was hoping it would be Marvin, so he and Renee could finally get a room.
Okay, well, let's backtrack for a second. I'm glad you brought that up.
Forgot about that.
We did, and I'm glad you brought that up. But you know, we see the models after they come home from the photo shoot, and they're trying to figure out who's going to sleep where.
Right.
And it's really
there's 1 bed and
there's 1 bed,
3 pull-out beds, I think, or 2 pull-out beds.
2 pull-out beds,
A couch.
and a couch. So they automatically decide that the girls would all have the bed, and then the boys would share either the pull-out beds or the couch. And of course, we go into more drama because Cory nominates himself to go sleep in the bed with the girls so Renee could have a pull-out bed with Marvin. And
which the girls are fine with, as everyone knows. You know, he's not interested in girls, so it's all good. He's one of the girls, so they were fine with that. But
so who has a problem with the whole thing?
Chris. Yeah, Chris H. But here's the thing. I actually was kind of like, they were saying Jeremy automatically decided, was like, well, we'll share this pull-out, and Renee and Marvin will be on a pull-out, and Chris can be on the couch. And he didn't actually ask. He told him, you're going to be on the couch. And Chris was like, I'm like 6-something, and this couch is like too short for me. So, I mean, I would have a problem too. Like, why did you automatically decide that I would be on the couch instead of the other way around? And he ended up getting his own pull-out. But, I mean, I think he was just standing up for himself. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like if anyone else stood up for themselves, then it would be understood. But since he's already like the black sheep of the group, the minute he stands up for himself, then they're all over him.
I actually thought that was unfair.
Because why didn't Jeremy? Yeah, why did Jeremy automatically? And then Chris was like, well, why can't I sleep on a couch? And Jeremy was like, nope, not going to happen.
Exactly. So I thought that was really unfair and childish of Jeremy to be doing that. You guys all are in one house. You guys all have the same opportunities and the same expectations of everyone. So maybe it should have been a vote, you know, who got to sleep where,
or draw straws or
exactly, something like that. Not decide for people just because you want 2 couples to share a pull-out couch, which, you know, was fine because Cory was willing to sleep with the girls to have them do that, but to decide for someone else where they're going to sleep, I felt bad for Chris because he's like, I'll sleep on the floor, you know, I don't need to.
And he did say I'll sleep on the floor at that point. So, I mean, he could have, you know, raised him up a little bit more, but he didn't. And then thankfully Jeremy decided to let him sleep on the other pull-out. And I guess Jeremy slept on the couch?
Jeremy slept on the couch. So good thing he at least did something right.
Yeah, I just thought it was wrong that he was automatically excluded. They should have just been more democratic and like chose names or something or whatever. but whatever.
Yeah. So let's return to...
You know why they do that? Just so there's more drama.
Yeah. I'm
or
sure
so they can get extra boys and girls in bed together.
You know what? I'm sure that's actually not how it happened. Something might have happened that we just don't see on camera, which is a lot of the times deleted.
But I bet you they can afford one more room with the bed, though.
Deleted from... Exactly. So it was just... I don't know. Maybe when they start the show, I don't know if they think about, okay, how do we create more drama today? What do we do? What do we do? Let's come up with something creative. Let's give them only one bed.
You know what? When I have more kids later, I'm going to do that in my life. How can I create drama for these kids? I'm going to tell them they can have one room. I'm going to have 6 kids. You figure it out. Just to have fun, right?
Survival of the fittest.
Right. Oh, goodness.
So the next call out is Marvin. And Marvin did an amazing job this week. Even Kelly Catrone commented on his picture and said how great it was, and this is what they were expecting of him. Tyra liked the fact that he delivered the advice that she gave him. Rob, I don't remember getting any feedback from him, and the social media scores they didn't really mention.
I think he can continue to do well on social media, I believe. But it was just nice because it was finally a different look, because he's been producing the same look in the past, and this one was totally different. So well deserved to be the first guy called out. And
Tyra mentions that, you know, last week he was down in the bottom 2 and freaking out, and pretty sad that Dawn went home, and she said, how does it feel to be the first guy called out this week? So it's really not, you don't know if you're safe or not. You don't know if you're going to be in the bottom 2 this week, or you're going to be the first one called out next week. It's not safe for any of the contestants.
Clearly we see that later on.
And the next one called out is Renee. Renee, as we know, gets the harsh critics from, not so harsh, but, you know, they basically tell her that she could have done a little bit better. She's going for the princess look, but they were expecting her to deliver being the queen. And Kelly was primarily the one mentioning and commenting on her photo. But how did you feel about that comment?
I mean, like we mentioned before, that was pretty spot on. She just needs to have a little more confidence in her photos, and she and Tyra had talked about, you know, giving an air of regality, you know, being more regal, and just acting like you own it. You own it. You're not the little stable girl. You know, you're running this, and so hopefully she'll just take that to heart.
Okay, and then we have Cory Called Out. And we have the bottom, it's Chris, Jeremy, and Nina. I was not expecting Nina to be in the bottom 3 at all. But let's start with Nina. They express how her photo looked like one of those Russian dolls, you know, which Kelly Catrone calls it the babushka, which means grandma.
Right.
And it was a little bit harsh.
Well, probably because she looked around, because the whole dress was engulfing her, and then she had that crazy face that those Russian dolls have, like the little open mouth thing, blow up doll face. So poor Nina, it's just like, it was just a whole lot of mess, but her photo really was one of the worst. I mean, it's the truth, and it was fair based on the photo. Unfortunately, she had done so well though throughout the competition. I did not expect it either.
Yes. And then they comment on Jeremy's photo, how he's still looking like the fitness model, and even though he's improved throughout the episodes, he's quite not there, and he's still looking, you know, they said they wouldn't cast him in the same photo as that they would cast Rob, because Rob was disagreeing with the photo and said how it doesn't look to be like an editorial photo.
Right, and I mean, he does have a commercial look, but there is still something that's very unique about his face. He just has to learn what to do with his body. I don't think that he should, like, stop working out or lose weight or anything like that. I think he should be fit, but he just needs to figure out his body.
Which is exactly what they said. So if he wants to be in fashion, because a lot of the times when they size you, if you're doing a runway, the designers usually sew for a size 2, a size 0, maybe
for women,
even you know, up to a size 4. So you really have to fit that body type, and depending on what you're modeling, they don't want their clothes to look like it's going to rip off, you know, from the you know, the abs, the shoulders, the muscle that's there. So you really have to feel the designers feel and what they want their clothes to portray.
Right. It's a little different for men than it is for women. I think what Jeremy needs to do is go and have a talk with Tyson Beckford, because he is a model who can do commercial, and he has an amazing body, and he's really buff, but he can also do editorial and like make it look really sleek and chic, and he's, you know, modeled for Armani, I mean, you name it, some of the top designers, and he's able to be that versatile. But then you also see him in those Calvin Klein scenes where his body's just like banging, and he's able to do both. So
Rob's kind of that way as well. Rob is, you know, muscular,
right. He's
built,
like
but you still
Tyson
see
Beckford's
the supermodel in him as well. So you know, maybe he just needs to not go so far and just talk to Rob to see how it's done. And then we get to Chris. The judges express how he's losing that look, and even though his face always delivers, they weren't really sure. In the past couple of episodes, you know, his body, and just there was way too much going on.
And the main thing that they pushed home, and it's so true, is that Chris just needs to get out of his head. He needs, like, he's his worst adversary. He needs to stop beating himself up, stop excluding himself, stop playing the victim, and just be confident, because when we've seen his past pictures, and he can deliver. He needs to just be confident in himself and keep a positive attitude, and I think he could go really far. It's just going to be a matter of like mind checking himself, and so they're giving him the opportunity. So hopefully he will run with that, and we see you know, the potential that Chris has inside of him.
And the first one eliminated is Nina. So they do the whole going through the photos and the numbers.
And she is so devastated.
She is. She starts bawling because I don't think she was expecting it. I think it was still in her head that she won Best Photo last week. How could it be that she's going home this week? The next one, well, it's between Jeremy and Chris. And, of course, Jeremy is eliminated.
And I'm sure you caught this, but when Chris hugged Nina, he said, you know, I'm really sorry, I love you. If I move on, I'm going to win this for you. So let's hope that, you know, if it's possible, you know, it would be a double win for the both of them. But I expected Jeremy to go based on his photo. I didn't expect Nina.
I expected Jeremy to go as well. I wasn't expecting Nina at all. I was thinking it was probably going to be Chris, because he hasn't done so well in the last couple of challenges and even photos. So Nina was a little bit shocker to see her go. But then I don't know if the prior episode and the prior challenge had anything to do with this week's decision making, when she wasn't able to participate in the challenge under the water runway because of medical conditions. And she got to do snorkeling, but it wasn't that great.
Right. Oh, apparently each individual, you know, episode and challenge are separate. I mean, that's what they say. So
let's hope what that is. But if you guys disagree, make sure you guys log on to iTunes, rate, comment, give us 5 stars, and tell a friend. It only takes 1 minute. And don't forget also to check out our YouTube video page. Give us your feedback and what you think. We definitely want to know who's going to be moving on and what you guys think. So let's get into predictions. We haven't done this in a while, because we've had so many contestants.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Yeah, we have not done this in a while.
So I think it's a great time now to go into predictions, because we're down to 5 people. And as I said, no one's safe. Any one of them could be going home next week.
So we have Marvin, Renee, Jordan, Chris H., and Cory. Okay, just getting it all, wrapping my... It's so United Colors of Benetton right now. We have like one of everything.
It is. you know, I wasn't expecting where it might end up, but I'm liking where, you know, who's ended up on the top 5. So for next week, my first prediction would be that it's going to be one person eliminated, or actually, no, let me speak out of both sides of my mouth. It might be 2, because we're getting close to the finale and they really need the bottom 3. So,
right.
What do you think?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how many more episodes we have that I can tell you exactly. I
think we might have 1 or 2 or 3 more. I'm not
So
quite
I'm thinking
sure.
it's going to be 2.
2?
And did they say that it had to be a boy and a girl this last elimination, or it could have been either?
They haven't revealed that. They've just said, you know, they haven't mentioned anything.
No, I mean on elimination. For example, when they eliminated this time around, they eliminated a boy and a girl. Were they going to eliminate one of each, or could it have been 2 boys?
It could have been
anything. Okay, so I'm thinking that 2 are going to be eliminated, and I have a feeling, because there are only 2 girls left, Renee and Jordan. I have a feeling that we might get down to, I think it'll be 2 boys that are gone. We'll stick with 2 girls and 1 boy.
Okay, I'm going to go back to my prediction and say it's going to be 1 person eliminated, and it's going to be a boy.
A boy, right. So there will be 2 boys and 2 girls.
I honestly don't know who might be going home, because they're all
It's just anyone's game. I hope that Cory doesn't. I think he's been doing really well, and he's put so much into it, and I just think he's so versatile. Like I mentioned, he can, you know, play anything, but who knows? I guess we'll wait and see. And you guys keep commenting. We appreciate your comments. I was going to shout out to ANTM Freak. You've been sending a lot of comments. We're happy to host, and we really, truly want to hear what you have to say about who you think's going to be here, who isn't, what you thought of the pictures. AMTM Freak 007. So,
and just to go into a little bit of news and gossip real quickly, we will be having season 20, cycle 21, and they've already casted for the 16 contestants that will be on the show. We don't know when it's going to air or if they started taping already, but that is on the roll. They're going to have co-ed boys and girls being on the show, so that's really definitely exciting to know that they're coming
Emma,
back.
We missed our chance to get on the next season.
I know. Tyra, you know, she needs to bring back the under 5 foot.
Right. Normal people size modeling. Hook us up.
Thank you guys so much for watching us. We'll definitely be back next week for another recap. Brooke, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Brooke Chavez LA.
And you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Real Emma K. Don't forget to shop on to Emma K's Closet for all the cheap and chic fashion.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.